want to go into theory, my theories about what I think about past lives. Do I believe in past lives? And yes, I do, absolutely. And the thing about talking about past lives is, obviously, a lot of this, is taught in New Age circles, but I want to take a practical approach to what this is. Well, let's think about it. What is a past life? Well, obviously, the past life is that you lived one time, you died, and you came back. But is there any way to sort of use logic to prove whether or not that it exists? The answer is no. You could think about it in a logical fashion, but we gotta decide first off, what do we think is proof? And my theory of proof is it has to be right in front of you. Whatever it is that you're trying to quote unquote prove, you have to be able to demonstrate it, and you have to be able to demonstrate it right in front of the person's eyes. And that would be proof. But if you say that, oh, I saw a ghost, years ago, and that's proof. That's not proof. That you might be telling the truth. You might have saw something that was, what quote unquote paranormal, but that's not proof. That's you telling your experience, but there's nothing to demonstrate. So no, we can't break it down logically. At least I haven't. I don't know how yet. I have to think about it more. But what we can do is think about it. We know this much. We're alive now. We know that we were born and we're gonna die one of these days. But the way I always thought, growing up, whenever I think about these kind of things is, why? I mean, my character, the kind of person I am, I'm way too smart to have just lived one time. Because a lot of the stuff that kind of came natural to me, I know for a fact I did not learn in this life. So, intuitively, and intuitively, I mean my feelings, my gut instinct, I feel as if I have lived before. And the question is, can you prove it to yourself? You can't prove it, to another person, but can you prove that in a logical fashion to yourself? And that yes, I say yeah, you can. Now I can't prove it to you. I can't. I can tell you right now. I remember certain past lives of mine, and I don't even like saying that because to most people that sounds crazy. But I don't need validation from another person if I remember something happening. But you take what I say with a grain of salt. Believe me, don't believe me, it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you what I know, or what I tell you what I feel I know. Yeah, obviously, I remember, being a kid. I had always had an obsession with World War II. I had an obsession with Japanese culture, and I think more of an attachment to medieval, style stuff. And it feels whenever I would look up videos or look up pictures, it just felt like like I lived that. And the only way I can figure this out, whether I actually went there or not, is to trust my gut instinct. And my gut instinct says, yes, I was there. I look for triggers. Anything that really draws your attention, I'd say there has to be a deep, deep reason why something could just, catch your attention. Because especially if you haven't been taught. If nobody, if you had a parent that was obsessed with World War II, you could easily say that the reason why you're obsessed with World War II is because your parents were. But for me, there was a lot of stuff I absolutely did not learn from my mom. I didn't have a father growing up, so I didn't have a father figure growing up, so I didn't learn it from anyone. I didn't have any brothers. I didn't have any sisters. I was the only child. I never have had any sort of mentor or any friend that has ever really taught me any serious stuff. The person that has done all that was myself. But this life that I have had, there is absolutely no way I've learned or learned the kind of stuff that I feel like intuitively comes natural for me. Technology and knowing about things like World War II. It just seemed to, like, if I saw a gun, I just sort of instinctively, feel like I know about this gun, or I know about this piece of history. I feel like I lived it. So I may not know about it logically, but I will probably learn it again. If I already had a life where, say, I lived in the medieval times, I would be able to learn all about the history probably a lot quicker than if I didn't live in those times. And so that's one indicator that, maybe I did live, then, because, these things feel so natural to me. And if I read up on it, it's just so easy to get, like, almost like I lived there, right? Like I said. But where is all these memories? The only place that I could say that these memories exist is in your subconscious. Now, what is a subconscious? Subconscious is obviously like submarine. Think when submarine, think of something that goes under. So it goes under your consciousness. And what is the conscious part of yourself? You got the New Age who says, oh, we're all having a conscious experience, and consciousness this, consciousness that. But I take a logical approach from what is exactly is consciousness. I'd say it's the ability to understand something and the ability to react to it. That is consciousness. The reaction could be small, it could be a tree is conscious because it reacts to things. If it rains, the tree is conscious, is aware that there's water there, and knows to take the action to absorb that water into it. So it is conscious. It is consciousness. But like we were talking about, what is the subconscious? Well, it's a part of you that you don't pay attention to because you're conscious. The part that is designed to immediately react to things, to be able to understand something and then be able to react to it. That is done in the forefront of things. Your consciousness is aware of just what's going on with you right now. Your subconscious will pick up on things that you're not really paying attention to. You absorb that information, but your conscious part of you, the part of you that is more alert, doesn't understand that you actually did absorb that information. So, if you lived before and you consciously experience stuff, well, when you come back, all of that consciousness more than likely went into your subconscious mind, because now that you are born again into a totally new body, you're not conscious of those things anymore. Your consciousness is actually starting to be built as a child. As a baby, you're learning new things. You're learning how to crawl. You're learning how to walk. You're learning, you grow up to be a child. You're learning all these different things that, to sort of build a new conscious mind. So when you die, you lose your consciousness. What's left is subconscious memories. And subconscious memories are, the way I'd explain it is, if you understand a computer and you understand a hard drive, when you turn your computer on, all the little things that you see on your screen, that is the conscious part of your hard drive. But little do you know, the little bits, the little zeros and ones, the codes, the pieces of information that make up that stuff, that's on the subconscious part. That's the hidden part. That's the part that you don't see when you turn the computer on. So it's exactly like your mind. Your subconscious is all this stuff that you don't see. So how would you be able to go into that and structure all of that subconscious memory and pull it out of that and bring it into conscious memory? Well, there are some people who have went to, what do they past life regression, therapy. I have never went to one of those, so I can't testify that those things actually work. But I can say that I'm a very deep person, very very deep, and I have pretty much have lived out my entire life doing nothing but trying to dig into my own subconscious, trying to figure out, what is wrong with me or what is right with me, who I am, blah, 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 blah. And I've done that for ever, for my entire life. And I've kind of learned its lingo, learned whenever something comes up, I might have difficulty explaining to you since you wouldn't have, some of you, whatever, may not have that quote unquote gift. So it's really hard for me to explain it, but it's almost like, meditation. And frankly, I don't do meditation, and at least not in the Eastern philosophy sort of. I don't do it like Buddha did it. I would actually just daydream, and it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just those moments where you just absorb stuff, and then just something just lights up in your head, and you're just like, I understand now, and it just comes suddenly. It doesn't come to you in rational form, and a lot of people who don't have that will look at you and say, well, what that is just your imagination. But then again, I can go into another subject about what is an imagination. In fact, I got a lot of ideas to talk about, but they say it's your imagination. It doesn't exist. Well, it does exist. If I asked you to think of an apple right now, you say, well, that apple doesn't exist. Well, it does exist. It's in your head. Now, is it in the form of an apple? No. But you see the apple, don't you? So it is in the form of something. It is there somewhere. Yeah, it might be in your head, but you do see an apple, don't you? So whatever that is that you see, it's in there. And I'd say that apple you see has to be subconscious memories. You subconsciously remember what an apple looks like. So you're able to construct those subconscious memories into making what you vaguely can see as an apple. So how would you be able to remember past lives? Well, I've been rambling this whole time. Let's get to the point. How can you remember past lives? Well, for me, it's just these things, these memories that that come into my head, my mind. They come, and I don't know what to do with them. And I used to brush them off as that's just my imagination running with myself. And I'll say I'm a Pisces. I'm a Mercury in Pisces, and from what I understand, Mercury Pisces can be kind of dreamy and can indeed get lost in their own dreams. But if you're able to stay in there and have consciousness, have some sort of structure, you can dig into that and start to pull out information, So whenever something, pops in my head, like I might remember, me being a knight and I'm in the medieval times, right? And I remember, a certain woman who, used to be my, traveling companion. And then let's say, I don't remember much, about that, but I know little tidbits, like some stories playing in my head. Well, again, someone would say, well, that's your imagination. Well, yeah, it could be, but could it also be past memories? Could it? I don't know. I can't prove that, but I have a belief that, yeah, indeed, at least some of those things could possibly be past life memories. And whenever, especially when something like that triggers me emotionally, that is usually when I know that more than likely is something that occurred to me as a conscious being. Because, hey, let's be real. I am not this body. You are not this body. You look at yourself in the mirror all the time. Look at how good looking I am. Well, guess what? That's not you. That's your body. And I'm not going to get into details and stuff, but I know a lot of things about your body, about my body, about the human body. And, if you had any clue of the kind of nasty things that go inside your body, I don't think you would see the human body as beautiful. It might look good with sunglasses, but guess what? There's bacteria all in your mouth. bacteria in your stomach. You know. Okay, there's all kinds of things that you don't pay any attention to. But what happens when you die? Let's think about that. Are you male? Are you female? Do you have blonde hair? Do you have brown hair? Is your name Silver? Is your name Brandon? Is your name, whatever your first name is? Is that your name? Does it mean anything anymore? I mean, you don't have a body. And then, of course, when you die, you either, rot in the ground or they cremate you, but your body's gone. So where are you? I'll get into that further, maybe in a part 2, but, I'd say, yeah, we have past lives, and the way to access those things is to dig deep, real deep. It's buried, trust me. It's buried into your subconsciousness. If you're listening, thank you, and I'll probably be making a part 2 of this stuff. I'm gonna really get into this kind of stuff later. So if you want to, you can subscribe to my channel, the Esoteric Armchair Philosopher, not the Angry Armchair Philosopher. Esoteric, Team Blue, Esoteric, Team Red, Angry. So, all right, thank you for listening.